Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Buddyfight deck profile. Today I'm going to be covering the Hero World deck of Cosmoman. As of the Glory Valiant side of Buddy Ragnarok, Cosmoman got a couple of new cards that really help change the deck and make the deck even more powerful than it was before. And it first starts off with the new Cosmoman. The new Power Cosmoman is looking to be pretty powerful because he is a soul-based Cosmoman, like more focused about soul than some of the others. His initial effect is this card gets a plus 10,000 power and defense boost and plus 1 crit for each card in its soul, which is already really strong because it'll come in with 3 soul off of its transform effect. And then it also has a pretty good counteract ability where if you are transformed into this card, you could call up to 1 Galaxy Defense Team card from your drop zone without paying its call cost, and you can only use that ability once per turn. So being able to counter call both offensively and defensively is pretty good. On top of which some of the Galaxy Defense Team cards are mostly just going to be used as more resource gaining cards anyway. So that's just really good. And then he has the classic Cosmoman effect where at the end of the turn, return this card to your hand from the field, but you're just going to use Soul Guard to mitigate that anyway. And then we have a new spell for Cosmoman in Transform Cosmoman. So it's a pretty good spell in which it has 2 utility options. You could either put up to 1 Galaxy Exalt monster from your deck into your hand, and if you do, you draw a card. So not only is it basically tutoring for Cosmoman, it also is drawing you a card. And then the other option is put up to 1 Galaxy Exalt and up to 1 size 2 or less Galaxy Defense Team from your drop zone to your hand. A little bit of recycling on top of the fact that you could also just use it to search out a Cosmoman is pretty solid. And then the last new card that they got is Second Accelerator. So this is looking to be a pretty solid card in which the fact that all Galaxy Exalt cards on your field can't be destroyed, bounced, and its souls can't be dropped by the opponent's card effects. So it just helps protect Cosmoman. And then when a Galaxy Exalt enters the field or transforms, you put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge and draw a card. So a little bit of resource gaining on top of the protection. So the rest of the deck is going to be focused on trying to optimize and utilize the new Cosmoman to set up a very powerful board state. The only other Cosmoman I feel like is really needed is Cosmoman Draco, because he makes himself a size 0 if we already are transformed into a Galaxy Exalt. And he gets 3 soul when he enters, and then he has move, soul guard, and double attack. So he's just a pretty solid card overall. Then Cosmo Falcon number 2 is just another resource gaining card where we look at the top 5 and then we get to choose a Galaxy Defense Team and a Galaxy Exalt and then put it into our hand and the rest on the bottom of our deck. Very simple but very effective card. Then Hydromanor is basically the Garcat of the deck, so it's just pretty solid. Then Superhero Time is just another card to help look for whatever card we really need, and then the rest go into the gauge. Grace of the Sun Deity is just Grace of the Sun Deity, protects our cards, and protects us from burn. Buddy Block is pretty good because it's one of the better defense spells. Hyper Energy just gains us some gauge really quickly. This is Hyper Energy, is basically a Hyper Energy tutor that also draws us a card, but what's really cool is you could also tutor it out of the drop zone. So if you've already used Hyper Energy, you could play It's Here to get it back, or you play It's Here to get Hyper Energy to play it. So it's just a solid card. Mirror Effect Draw 2 Extra is basically just in the title. It's just drawing us 2 cards. We're not going to care about the Super Warrior effect because the only part of its cast condition is we have to be transformed. But if we're transformed, it's just basically draw 2. Or So the Dream I Had Went is your spell null of the deck. Spell nulls are pretty important. This is the Key of Justice, is just another draw card. Cosmo Change allows us to get a little bit more gauge, on top of which we could transform into a Galaxy Exalt from our drop zone. So we could swap into a clean transformation for even more power. And then as far as the tech cards go, I am going to be running 4th Omnilord Burnova Rebuddy because he just stops us from dying, protects our board, and can help us win the game alone. I'm also going to be running Buddy Police Agent Golden Dragnir Jackknife because he also acts as additional protection for our board, on top of which he gets a power boost and a crit boost for even more damage output. Aiming to be the Buddy Monster for 100 years is just another card to try to recycle our deck a little bit, because we do have a lot of cards that draw Engage and put themselves into the soul, so we do go through our deck quite a bit. So having something to help us slow the amount in which our deck is thinning is pretty solid. Time Soldier Spigar is basically the Darryl Burke of the deck. He's just there to help fish out some of the cards, on top of which he also can slightly help set our drop zone in case we need to use Cosmo Change or anything. And then lastly is Lost World, because we do draw a lot, we do gauge gain a lot, so running Lost World isn't completely out of the question, on top of which we have a couple of good searchers that could potentially see Lost World and get it into our hand very easily. And then as far as any of the extra cards go, it's basically anything that can interact with Transform, really, because there's a lot of different ways Hero World likes to be played. So the primary ways is either Transform or Ride, and they don't necessarily care about the subtype too much. So you just could run a whole bunch of different cards that interact with the fact that you are transformed. And then just any other Galaxy Defense teams or Galaxy Exalt cards that you feel like you really want to run. But that's basically it for the deck. It's just a very standard draw a lot, gauge a lot, play the new Cosmoman, and then just go to town. It's fairly simple and straightforward, but it's definitely looking to be a very powerful deck nonetheless. As always, I'll have the deck list in the description down below. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions about the deck or just want to leave a comment in general. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video.